This is the Argo Merchant Case Study by Mario Stark. The Argo Merchant was a Liberian flag tanker that was captained by Captain Georgios Papadopoulos. The vessel was 644 feet long, 18,743 tons, and it was built in Hamburg, Germany in 1953. She was en route from Venezuela to Salem, Massachusetts at the time of the collision, according to Hall 2020. The grounding was roughly 25 miles southeast of Nantucket Island on Middle Rip Shoal, according to Maritime Cyprus 2018. On this voyage, she was carrying both Venezuelan number 6 fuel oil and cutter stock. There were many reasons for why the Argo Merchant ran aground. First off, she had one of the worst track histories in the entire shipping industry. Throughout her life, she had 2 groundings, 14 casualties, a collision, and multiple engine issues. In this particular incident, the vessel ventured off its intended course at the fault of an underqualified helmsman who hadn't taken an accurate celestial fix for upwards of 15 hours prior to the grounding. It is documented that the captain had complained about the vessel not having an accurate gyrocompass as well, according to Hall 2020. Not only that, but the charts on board were outdated and the radio direction finder was malfunctioning as well, according to the courtroom sketches of Ida Libby Dangrove, 1980. Finally, the emergency pumps and air deliverable anti-pollution transfer system, known as ADAPS, failed as a result of the shallow water in conjunction with the poor weather conditions, according to Hall 2020. Some attempts by the captain to save the sinking vessel was requesting permission to dump the oil cargo that they had on board. This oil cargo is defined in Annex 1 of MARPOL. This request was warranted because under Annex 1, Chapter 1, Regulation 4.1, this can sometimes be approved to save the life at sea or secure the safety of the vessel. However, under Annex 1, Chapter 1, Regulation 4.3, the government has jurisdiction over the location of the discharge that will occur, according to MARPOL 2020. Unfortunately, their permission was refused by the U.S. government, according to Maritime Cyprus 2018. With the captain deciding to evacuate the vessel on the 16th of December, the Coast Guard helicopters out of Cape Cod, Massachusetts base flew out and picked up the 38 crew members. There were attempts at saving the vessel by refloating it before it sank, but it was too late. On December 17th, the ship buckled and on the 21st split in two. The bow floated away a few hundred miles prior to the Coast Guard deciding to sink it with gunfire, according to Maritime Cyprus 2018. The stern remained aground on Middle Rip Shoal, according to Hall 2020. With the combination of the grounding, high winds causing rough waves, the vessel spilled almost 8 million gallons of oil on December 15, 1976, on the Nantucket Shoals off of Massachusetts. At the time, this was the worst oil spill in United States history until the oil spill of the Exxon Valdez in 1989, according to the courtroom sketches of Ida Libby Dangrove, 1980. The United States Coast Guard, the USCG, requested Spilled Oil Response (SOR) team's help in being the scientific advisor and unofficial liaison for the scientific community, according to NOAA 2019. It is said by the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, otherwise known as NOAA, that the Argo Merchant was the first sinking that had a coordinated oil response, according to NOAA 2019. This incident was responsible for many firsts in the world of oil spill. One of these firsts was enlisting divers to swim under the oil spill and see if the oil was becoming part of the water column. Another first is the SOR team being able to implement their very new and understudied oil plan. By recruiting help from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, otherwise known as WHOI, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, otherwise known as MIT, and the United States Coast Guard, they were able to conduct their research, according to NOAA 2017. The sinking of the Argo Merchant also led to the creation of the Scientific Support Coordinator, the SSC. This program is now referred to as the backbone of the marine spill response. The SOR was able to publish an oil spill report in record time. They also led to the Hazardous Materials Response Division of HAZMAT, as well as the Office of Response and Restoration, according to NOAA 2017. Once the oil was in the ocean, there were 2 attempts to burn it, but they could not keep the fire lit, according to ITOP 2020. The first attempt consisted of large boxes of flammable, water-resistant, and jet fuel-charged flame. The oil wouldn't stay lit. The second attempt was made on one of the huge oval shapes of oil slicks, and that did not remain lit either. Those were the only 2 attempts at burnings made, according to Hall 2020. One interesting fact about the spill is that there was a strong offshore wind at the time, and the oil never reached the shore, thus no coastal impact was reported, according to ITOP 2020. There were 2 types of oil that spilled off this vessel, one being the Venezuelan No. 6 fuel oil and cutter stock. It is said that the cutter stock entered the water column and the No. 6 fuel oil did not. Luckily, the oil wasn't dense enough to sink into the sediments, according to ITOP 2020. No. 6 fuel oil is very thick and sludge-like. It is used for heating homes. No. 6 fuel oil on the surface of the water as the ocean is more dense and the oil breaks into smaller groups in the rough conditions. Over time, the oil biodegrades. It is said that there was very little effect on the shoreline birds. However, the birds that landed in the water became covered in oil, according to ITOP 2020. However, the number of oil-covered birds was roughly 160 individuals. Although this spill was terrible, there were a lot of factors that had they been different, the situation could have been much worse. From the samples taken at Georges Bank, the very important fishing ground, marine life suffered consequences from this spill. The fish, shellfish, and fish eggs were contaminated from the oil, according to Hall 2020. The incident originally looked to the plan created after the Torrey Canyon spill back in 1968. At the time of this spill, there wasn't any oil spill response plan put in place. As a result of the spill, the National Response Team and the Regional Response Team were created. One of the biggest issues of this spill is that it was near an extremely productive fishing ground, one of the biggest in the nation, called Georges Bank. Another action that came from this grounding is Congress adopting the Port and Tanker Safety Act of 1978. This act increased the authority of the Coast Guard to inspect as well as regulate the tank vessels, both foreign and domestic, that are operating in the United States waters, according to Maritime Cyprus 2018. In my opinion, this situation falls under Annex 1, Chapter 1, Regulation 4.2.2, because I would consider the captain acted recklessly, knowing that damage would most likely result. As explained above, there were many negligent steps that occurred leading to the grounding of the Argo Merchant. If this case were to happen today, the Argo Merchant would be held responsible for having a shipboard oil prevention plan under Annex 1, Chapter 5, Regulation 37. This incident falls under the industrial accidents, which represent 18% of the oil spills in the ocean from humans, according to our Annex 1 PowerPoint from class. Now for the legality. Judge Thomas Grecia found that Thebes Shipping, Incorporated, the owners of the vessel, were liable for the environmental cleanup as well as the insurance claims in February of 1980, according to the courtroom sketches of Ida Libby, Dangrove, 1980.
And here are my references. I hope you all enjoyed my presentation of the Argo merchant case study.